Welcome to this GoldMoney video. I'm James Turk. With me this morning is John Butler, head of GoldMoney Wealth Services. John, great to be with you today.
Thanks, James. My pleasure.
You're new to GoldMoney. I'd like to talk a little bit about first your background, and then we'll talk a little bit about wealth services. Can you just give us a brief overview as to what your background is?
Well, I worked in a variety of roles at major investment banks in New York, Germany, and in London. Those banks included Lehman Brothers and Deutsche Bank, for example. And my role was generally one in investment strategy, but as the years went on, I also got into designing investment processes, asset allocation processes, and even developing specific products that would be able to express a given view strategically in the financial markets internationally for a sustained period of time.
So you're really familiar with wealth management, portfolio management.
Designing processes for wealth management. I myself have not worked as a wealth manager or relationship manager per se, but I'm the one who's designed the tools and the processes to solve the problems, say, that an investor ultimately has. How much risk are they willing to take? What sort of returns are they looking for? How can they extract maximum diversification benefits? And how can they ensure a portfolio against a financial crisis, for example?
Okay, and I know because we've known each other for several years, I know that you also know gold very well, and you're the author of this book, The Golden Revolution, subtitle, How to Prepare for the Coming Gold Standard. What's the theme of this book?
Well, the theme of the book is to look both backwards into how the financial crisis happened in 2008, 2009, and also how the set of policy responses to that crisis are changing our monetary future, and at the margins are encouraging. This isn't deliberate on the part of policymakers, but their actions are in fact encouraging a sort of a de facto remonetization of gold in various ways in the international system. And we see this, for example, in a number of central banks building up their gold reserves. We see it in investors thinking more seriously about gold post-crisis than they did pre-crisis. And we even see people looking for ways to increase the utility of gold, which of course brings us to GoldMoney and also onto BitGold.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I've got my GoldMoney, this is an actual metal card, my GoldMoney. This is a beta test for my prepaid MasterCard, but I also have my BitGold, which is actually now up and running. It's MasterCard.
Excellent.
And it's working very, very well. So to add to the point you're making, return to gold as a standard, it's not just as a form of economic calculation to measure prices and preserve purchasing power, but to actually turn gold once again into a form of currency.
Well, that ultimately is where a lot of people would like to see us get to, because the financial crisis was caused largely by the hubris of central bankers thinking that they could manage and indeed micromanage economies at the national level and even at the international level. And clearly this has been demonstrated to not work. After 7 years of zero interest rates, right, there's a lot of evidence that it does not work. And so the idea now is to look for a better solution, to try and find a way to get past this mess we're in and to restore a truly sound money which can be used and generated and implemented as a more market-generated, resilient, anti-fragile process, to borrow a term from Nicholas Taleb.
So what in effect GoldMoney and BitGold are doing is basically making gold useful as currency once again. And the advantages are that there is no counterparty risk when you're using gold as a form of currency. So you don't have to worry about the solvency of a bank or anything of that nature. It's very, very low cost. In fact, payments in BitGold are free when you're using gold as a form of payment. And it's essentially instantaneous throughout the world 24/7. So these are things that you can't really get from national currencies.
Well, absolutely. What we're doing is we're taking the time-tested benefits, and by time I mean literally all of recorded human history for the most part, the time-tested benefits of a proper commodity-backed money, gold being the dominant form throughout history along with silver. And then we're combining that with the latest, greatest financial technology, which is clearly disintermediating and disrupting almost all forms of banking and finance today. Why shouldn't we take these great new technologies and enable them to disrupt the very nature of money itself in a way that results in a superior money? There's no difference in principle between a card. I've got one as well, a card such as this, which references a certain amount of gold in custody at some location around the world. There's no difference in principle between that and a card that would reference the value of pieces of paper in some banking deposit institution around the world. The technology is the same, but one money is superior to the other according to all available history.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know you and Roy Sabag, who's the CEO of GoldMoney, have been spending a lot of time talking about GoldMoney Wealth Services. I'd like to get into a little bit about that to explain, what you and he have in mind and how this is going to be unfolding and rolling out in the months ahead. I don't necessarily want any trade secrets on some of the products that you're working on, but if you could just sort of in a general way, introduce viewers as to what your role is and what are the things that you're going to be focusing on to help people with portfolio management.
Well, we do have big plans, and the reason why is if you think about it, we've already got what is in effect a fully reserved gold-backed bank. We offer gold savings accounts, and now we're increasingly offering gold payments, in the same way a bank would offer savings and payments in its domestic or other international currencies. But banks, as a general rule, also will offer other wealth services above and beyond just pure savings. They might offer certain types of investment products, for example, low risk, higher risk, diversification, portfolios, whatever it might be. We are looking to try and offer a similar product palette, as it were, to satisfy a range of different investor types in many different jurisdictions around the world, to enable them and empower them to invest their money in a way that's consistent with gold being the core asset of the portfolio, rather than some fiat-based currency, which will tend to depreciate over time, which could even be subject to financial crises, bail-ins, who knows what it might be. We're simply trying to recreate sensible, efficient, diversified investment processes with gold at the center, which is where we believe it belongs.
I got it. So it's really gold-centric financial services, and what you'll be doing is expanding horizontally with a variety of different products and services in the months ahead.
Absolutely.
Great. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up this little short discussion?
Well, again, we've got big plans. We can't roll out everything tomorrow, and there are, of course, regulatory approvals that are required for certain types of products. But when we're done with this, we want to have products that are suitable both to just typical retail investors trying to save a little bit month to month and grow their nest egg sustainably over a long period of time. We're also going to offer some products that are perhaps more suitable to higher net worth individuals who are looking maybe for some source of alpha, some sorts of uncorrelated excess return above and beyond a typical portfolio. Pretty much any type of product that is popular and exists on the wealth services platform of a major bank today, someday we would like to have our gold-based, gold-backed, gold-centric counterpart to that offering, and we'll eventually get there.
I'd like to have that too. That sounds really great. John, it's been great speaking with you. John Butler, Head of Wealth Management Services of GoldMoney, and I'm James Turk. Thank you for viewing our little video this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Great.